What is up, fellow thermonuclear AFers? I am Dan Valley coming at you with another YouTube exclusive where I'm reacting to Hoops Hype's ranking of the top 25 power forwards entering next season. Check out the other series we've done on this, point guards, small forwards, shooting guards. The link to that will be in the description, so will centers when it's up. The link to this full article is also in the description as well. Very quickly before we get started, please remember to hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Also, like and comment on these videos to help the algorithm love us back. The subscriptions are the most important thing. We have a lot of fun around here, seriously, unserious, do a thorough job covering the NBA and putting out as much content as possible. Also, consider joining our Discord. The link to that is in the YouTube description as well, in addition to all of our social channels. Without further delay, let's dive into this. This has been a lot of fun. Again, I do these in one take, reacting to them in real time. Let's see where I disagree. Let's just see where these rankings end up. Keegan Murray at number 25. Putting a rookie is always really risky, but his movement away from the ball shooting was really good in summer league and college. Obviously, I'm very interested to see what he turns in to defensively in Sacramento his first year, but he will have a big role. So I fave it because it seems like, look, 24 is Larry Markkinen. It seems like when you're getting to the power forward structure, these are very much a lot of the times one position players, unless you're talking about a Giannis or a Draymond Green, who I'm sure we'll see closer to the top. And so that means like the well is sort of shallower because you're going to include Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum in the wing discussions rather than the four discussions. Ditto for Oubre and Gordon Hayward. Larry Markkinen plays a lot of three for Cleveland, so I'm shocked that he's here a little bit. No major qualms. He was better defensively than I thought he was going to be last year, and he can stroke it in certain situations. Dorian Finney-Smith at number 23, that seems a little low. That just seems a little low. This is a guy who's borderline all defense and does a good job hitting his catch and shoot threes. Have to see who's in front of him, but that's a little low, right? That's low. 22, Jabari Smith, Houston. I love the faith here. I will say, I'm very curious to see what Jabari Smith's scoring package becomes in the NBA. I'm wondering if he's sort of better served as like a pick and pop and maybe a little bit of a pick and roll guy to start out. Just when you look at his handle and some of his shot creation and shot selection, I don't know that I trust it after Summer League as much as I did coming in. I will say his defense is all over the place. It's like Garnett and Chris Middleton rolled into one when you're watching him at his peak. And so we're talking about a generational defender and then just like a really solid wing defender in the same package. I like putting him on this list altogether. I'm actually a little bit surprised he's not higher. Wendell Carter Jr., I would consider him a center. I know he spends a lot of time next to Mo Bamba in Orlando, but I feel like he's going to spend even more time next to Paolo Banchero this year, and that would lead me to believe that he'd be a center. These designations are tough, but he was great last year. Just his passing, they ran some pick and rolls with him as the primary orchestrator as well. He is a very good switch defender. I kind of feel like, I mean, in the realm of power forwards, maybe he's where he belongs. I'd be curious to see where he would land on the center thing. Cam Johnson, love this, 6th man of the year candidate. Has some more off the dribble juice than I think we give him credit for on offense, but just a really, really great and versatile shooter. And I think he holds up defensively just fine, especially the assignments that Phoenix is giving him. Whoa! Aaron Gordon at number 19. Wow. His offense is topsy-turvy. I get it, but this is someone who is a power forward but was being used to defend the point of attack last year and did okay, was clearly overtaxed. His responsibility is going to be more streamlined this year with KCP and Bruce Brown Jr. there, and even Jamal Murray back. That should help. Yes, this is a really big bet, I would assume, against his offense, which when you're going to have Murray and MPJ and Jokic together, he just fits like a glove. He should hit more of his set threes than just someone who's going to move off the ball and maybe be opportunistic in transition. I already don't like this. 19 feels low. Kyle Kuzma quietly had a fantastic season last year. He's turned into a nice two-way wing defensively, the outside shot, some of the decisions he can make off drives. I would like to see him more consistently hit the shots that he's creating for himself, but that also doesn't need to be his role. Harrison Barnes, this also feels low for him. I guess I don't understand how deep the power forward well is right now. I'd have Harrison Barnes, though, in front of both Kyle Kuzma and Aaron Gordon here, though. So I guess like these rankings could be more accurate than I thought. Harrison Barnes is like plug and play when you're looking at him offensively. Can really spot up off the catch and do that really well. Doesn't need to have the ball in his hands, but he also gives you some sort of FU status with the ball in his hands. If you want to post him up or just have him create an ISO, don't trust him to pass a ton, but that's fine. He's plug and play on defense as well. I'm past the point where I want to see him guard any smaller players. He really feels like a one position defender at this point. Jeremy Grant at 16, I would put him in front of Harrison Barnes as well. Just another player who I think showed that he had more on-ball creation to him while he was in Detroit. Definitely his first season more so than his second. He is a good catch and shoot three guy, though. He can really give you some nice finishes in transition. And then I think defensively he's almost become underrated. He's not going to anchor your top tier defense on his own, but I wouldn't hesitate to throw him at the small ball 5. I'm not hesitating to throw him on ball against the toughest wing cover. We've seen him hold up okay against smaller players, and there's some off ball playmaking when you look at his disruption in the passing lanes or just some of his help at times shot blocking. So I really like Jeremy Grant. This feels low too, but oh no, Christian Wood at 15. No, I can't do it. We're out. We're out. I can't. Look, I'm pretty high on Christian Wood. I like the trade for the Mavericks. He should not be a 4. He should be a 5, though the Mavericks seem intent on playing him with JaVale McGee. The defense has just been a train wreck, and maybe he has the mobility to be better and sort of the help instincts as well. We need to see it more in action. Love the offensive package, of course. I just don't know how he's a better all-around player right now than Kyle Kuzma, Harrison Barnes, and certainly Jeremy Grant. This is a little surprising to me. Kristaps, no, not yet. Let's see him last the full season and play well during that time. He was fantastic for Washington when he came over in that trade from Dallas. I like his spot-up three-point shooting. I like his rim protection. There's a little bit more side-to-sideness to his defense when he was in Washington too. The health concerns me, and I really think he's more of a limited player offensively in the sense that you don't want him creating his own looks either in the post or from face-up opportunities. There were moments, specifically in Washington, where we showed glimpses into it. I just don't think that's a high-value proposition if you're going to lean on it. 14 is way too high, and again, he's someone else I consider a center. John Collins at the 4. That makes sense that he's at the 4. At 13, I'm very high on John Collins. This is just his game is Ty Windish of the Eurostep. If he hears this, will love this. Infinitely scalable offensively. He's great as sort of a primary screen and roll guy, someone you could trust around to finish lobs in the basket, but he can basically spot up from anywhere, play off of ball handlers well, just move even when he's not the primary screener with just a gait that is and instincts that are tough to account for when you're on defense. His own defense has gotten a little bit better. I still feel like he's more one position defender than not, but I think certain teams with more perimeter defense, not the Hawks, even though they have Murray and Hunter this year, could probably get away with him at the small ball 5. I think he's become one of the most underrated players in the league, quite frankly. Julius Randle at 12. I can't put him over Collins. I get maybe everybody else, but the season he had last year, closed it really well. He has some real just on-ball creation magic to him some points when he's hitting those step-back jumpers, those tough pull-ups, and he can be this force of nature when he gets going downhill to defer. That's just not something that he's done consistently. He had the anomalous season in New York in 2020, 2021, and then last year was just a dumpster fire. Maybe he comes back strong this year, and you don't make second-team All-NBA by accident, even if you don't think he deserved that honor. But I needed him to defend better like he did in 2021 and also just be more efficient with his own offense, or at least prove that he can play within a larger ecosystem should he not have the ball. 12 is really high. I'd be knocking that down. Jaren Jackson Jr. at 11. The injury concerns are real. He's probably not going to be healthy to start this season. A lot of people think he's overrated on offense. When you're looking at his own on-ball creation, I get it. There's like this slow motionness, almost like he's operating at Kyle Anderson speed without the passing skill set there, but he can sort of maintain his handle when he's operating at his own speed. And then just even when his three-point shot isn't falling at the highest clip, the by virtue of his volume and the distance at which he's taking a lot of these shots, it really does stretch the opposing defense wafer thin. His own defense, though, when you look at how well he performed this season, still leaves a lot to desire as a rebounder, but I'm okay playing him at the 5, at the 4. He can just cover a ton of ground on half-court possessions. Paolo Banchero at 10. I freaking love this. I freaking love it. I don't know what he's going to be on defense. I'm higher on his switch ability than most, but he is the it guy on offense, just watching him. Like, he might be Orlando's best passer already, in addition to its best shooter and its best on-ball creator. I'm not saying that's going to happen when you look at who else is on the team, but he could very much be the best in those 3 categories right from the get-go. Putting him at 10 it's a roll of the dice, but it's a gamble that I like. Don't know if I would have him there. Tobias Harris. Interesting. Strong close to the season. Had some okay moments, I guess, in the playoffs. Sort of defensively neutral in a lot of matchups, if not a liability. If you can get him to make quick decisions with the ball and spend a lot of time off it, which he does in Philly with Embiid, Maxey, and Harden, I think that's a fine fit. I probably would prefer guys that have more responsibility though, on defense and offense. And I don't know if Tobias Harris is necessarily that guy. The scoring numbers, even efficiency now, should be pretty, if not prettier, compared to last season. But I'd probably just prefer, like, if you're going to put Banchero this high, why not put him above Harris? I'd probably prefer Jaren Jackson Jr. at this point, not Julius Randle. I'd prefer John Collins over Tobias Harris for sure. This is a touch or 5 too high for Tobias Harris. Draymond Green at 8. The offensive regression is real. He's very much predicated on needing space and then just the threat of Steph or Clay around him. But his passing on the short roll is fantastic and in transition as well. And then just he's a transcendent defender. Even as someone who's not going to understand the intricacies of NBA defense, when you get really granular, I'm talking about myself, you watch him away from the ball and all the things he can do, even now, when he struggled at points during the finals. Just absolutely transcendent on that end of the floor. I'm fine with it. Scotty Barnes at 7. Inject this right into my veins and leave it there forever and ever and ever. My one qualm about Scotty Barnes' game is I want to see him speed up his processing on offense. I think he gets there. He showed so much. There was some touch away from the basket in addition to some touch near the basket, able to work with the ball in his hands. The Raptors gave him some crunch time possessions to create from scratch. And I like that he was a net positive on defense as a rookie, specifically just like his presence away from the ball and being able to handle a lot of switches. I love this. Evan Mobley at 6. Power forward pool is definitely deeper than I was crediting. I'm clearly wrong there. I get why you'd put him ahead of Scotty Barnes. I think Scotty Barnes has a chance to be better than him next season, though. I'd probably flip-flop these two. Mobley is very clearly maybe a generational defender. You just cover fucking everybody at this point. I need to see more of the offensive package from him. Maybe we get that, especially if Colin Sexton isn't back, but you do have LeVert, you do have Rubio, you have Darius Garland. I don't know how many more on-ball opportunities they're going to give him. We saw a little bit more, I guess, as the season went on. And I'm not talking about let's operate with him from the high post. I want to see him leading even more fast breaks, maybe even running pick and rolls as the initiator. He's that kind of dude. I just don't know if he gets there next season. I don't trust his range, looking at his actual scoring ability on offense, even though I trust the tools that are there. Number 5, Pascal Siakam. I dig it. Pascal Siakam's a favorite of this podcast. If I had to bet on a player's dark horse candidacy to win MVP, it would be Pascal Siakam. Just look at what he's done. He's going to be rock solid defensively, be able to cover and fulfill all these different types of roles. But his offense, he's really done a better job tightening up that handle, navigating traffic, still not operating at like warp speed when you're talking about his off the dribble shot making, but his decision making on drives is fantastic. He can stretch the floor on a set jumper and even dribble into some threes. And he's just gotten better shouldering the primary burden of the offense. Zion Williamson at 4. Look, people in the comments, I was talking about RJ Barrett's extension the other day, saying that it's not really an overpay, but it is a gamble. I'm ultimately fine with it. I support it if there are any Knicks fans watching. But they're like, well, look at how much Zion got. I know Zion has appeared in fewer games. His peak has absolutely been higher than RJ's to this point. His peak was all NBA. Like, he was a player that you looked at and said, well, that's an all-NBA player in 2020, 2021. If you have questions about his durability and you want to knock him behind Mobley, Barnes, Pascal Siakam, I get it. But this is someone who has most dominant player in the NBA potential. He needs to be better defensively if he wants to be best player in the NBA. But sort of like how you feel at times Rudy Gobert or Joel Embiid can just be the most dominant defender in existence because of all that they can do and just swallow and create on their own. Zion Williamson to me is one of those guys where, and Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum at their peak are not on this level. Zion Williamson can just be your ticket to a top 5 offense or whatever when he's fully healthy. The next up is Karl-Anthony Towns at 3. Definitely a power forward now. He was a center last season. He has to be there. He is so much more than just shooting. His defense can be iffy, but go back and watch some Minnesota Timberwolves games from last year, and he played in some just like really hyper-aggressive coverages, and it worked quite well. Now that you have Rudy Gobert behind him and even just the athleticism of Edwards and Jaden McDaniels there, if he's not great defensively, it won't hurt the Wolves as much, certainly. I think he's easy to cover up for, is my point. Than people really say. And then just do anything on offense. I want to see him run pick and rolls with Rudy Gobert. That's how much I trust his ball handling. You can work with him in the post as well. He can pump fake into not even just these straight line drives, but there are real directionality to his downhill assaults. Anthony Davis at 2. I don't know. I'm not out on Anthony Davis, but would I prefer Karl-Anthony Towns to Anthony Davis at this point? And Zion? And maybe even Siakam? Yeah, I would. Durability is a concern here for me, but the offense is just weird. He's too dependent on everybody else. And that's fine to be a play finisher. But when you're on the Lakers and you're supposed to be considered this top 10 player, I am going to value just on-ball impact a lot more, creativity. I don't think Davis has it. I don't trust his jumper at this point. It looked pretty in the bubble, but we've seen it fluctuate since. He definitely has this peak. I just don't know that we can pencil him in there anymore when you look at the players behind him. And number one, Giannis, done. Like, if you're not picking Giannis here, who are you picking? And I question your decision-making in life, not just this. The easiest number one, best player in the NBA for me right now. If you enjoyed this, subscribe. If you didn't, subscribe anyway. Let me know what you think of these rankings, what you would have changed. Were there any snubs that didn't appear here? Until next time, though, and like always, I leave you with the shout out to the one, the only, the true number one power forward in our hearts, Frank Ntilikina.